My name is Hannah Mercer. I'm 34 years old. The night my family finally lost me, I was not standing in a courtroom. I was not sitting at a family dinner. I was lying in an ICU bed with 3 broken ribs, a punctured lung, blood inside my chest, and a tube coming out of my side. A paramedic had called my parents while I was half conscious in the ambulance. I heard my mother's voice through the speaker. Clear, cold, almost bored. "Is she dying?" The paramedic hesitated. "No, ma'am, but she is seriously injured." "Then it can wait," my mother said. "Vanessa needs us right now. Hannah is always dramatic. Tell her to stop making a scene." Vanessa was my older sister. She was 25 minutes away in a restaurant, crying because she had gotten a $385 traffic ticket. I was bleeding internally. They chose the ticket. 3 hours later, when my father finally walked into my hospital room, he froze in the doorway because someone was sitting beside my bed. Someone he knew. Someone he had never expected me to call. His face went pale. His hands started shaking. "You," he whispered. "Why are you here?" And that was the moment my family realized I had stopped being the daughter they could use in private and silence in public. Before I tell you what happened in that room, subscribe and stay with me, because this is not just a story about a car accident. This is a story about 10 ignored phone calls, 7 years of hidden payments, and the night I finally brought receipts for everything they thought I would never expose. Let me take you back to where it started. Monday, October 21st. 11 in the morning. I clocked in at Brighton Harbor Medical Center in Boston, Massachusetts, for what the schedule called a routine trauma rotation. There is no such thing as routine in trauma surgery. By 11:47 in the morning, I was already in operating room 2. The patient was a 32-year-old man. Car accident on the expressway. 3 broken ribs, punctured lung. The same injuries I would have less than 24 hours later. I just did not know that yet. The resident beside me was Dr. Oliver Bennett, 29 years old, smart, careful, and still learning how to trust his hands under pressure. I had trained him myself. "Dr. Mercer," he said, "the chest tube placement looks clean. Do you want me to close?" "You do the honors," I told him. "You earned it." The surgery took 4.5 hours. The patient lived. That is all that matters in my line of work. I scrubbed out at 4:18 in the afternoon and checked my phone. There was a text from my mother, sent at 3:47 in the afternoon. "Hannah, we're taking Vanessa to that new Italian place tomorrow for lunch. Wish you weren't always so busy." I felt a sharp pain behind my left eye. Brief. Fleeting. I ignored it. I was good at ignoring pain. Physical pain. Emotional pain. The kind of pain that shows up when your mother tells you she wishes you were less busy, while forgetting that your busy hands are the reason someone else still gets to go home. At 6:23 in the evening, another patient was rolled into operating room 4. Gunshot wound to the abdomen. 28 years old. Someone's son. Someone's brother. "Dr. Mercer, we need you now," a nurse called. "He's crashing." I did not hesitate. I never do. 3 hours later, he was stable. Liver laceration repaired. No permanent damage. He would wake up the next day and get a second chance at life. I did not know that in less than 24 hours, I would need someone to give me the same chance. The last case came in at 12:47 in the morning on Tuesday. An elderly woman named Eleanor Whitman, 68 years old. Ruptured appendix with sepsis. Critical. I operated for 2.5 hours. When I finally closed, It was 3:20 in the morning. Mrs. Whitman opened her eyes in recovery, squeezed my hand and whispered, "Thank you for saving my life." I squeezed back. "That's what I'm here for." I did not tell her that in 12 hours, I would be the one who needed saving. And the people who were supposed to come for me would not come. As I scrubbed out at 3:22 in the morning, my phone buzzed. Text from Vanessa. "Mom and Dad are taking me to that new Italian place tomorrow. Wish you weren't always so busy." Same message. Same little knife. The pain behind my left eye flared again. Sharper this time. I ignored it again. I'd been ignoring a lot of things. I drove home in the dark. The highway was almost empty at 3:45 in the morning. Just me, the streetlights, and the weight of 16 hours on my feet. When I pulled into the driveway at 4:15 in the morning, the house was dark. My husband, Nathan, and our daughter Lily were asleep. Lily's nightlight glowed pink through her bedroom window. I sat in the car for a moment and checked my phone. Another text from my mother, sent at 11:32 at night. "Honey, can you send an extra $500 this month? Vanessa's car insurance went up. You know how tight things are for us." I opened my banking app. I typed in $1,200. My monthly contribution to what my parents called the Family Emergency Fund. Then, I sent another $500 for Vanessa's insurance. Total, $1,700. My checking account balance, $3,280. I had made that monthly transfer 84 times before. Once a month for 7 years. $1,200 times 84 months. $100,800. That did not include the emergencies, the extra requests, the one-time payments, the just this once favors that happened again and again until I stopped counting. Then there was the loan, the $186,000 refinance loan I had co-signed in March 2017. Original balance, $186,000. Amount my parents had paid, $0. Amount I had paid, $43,700. Current balance, $142,300. Still partly tied to my name. Nathan had asked me once, 3 years earlier, "Why do you keep giving them money?" I said, "Because they're family." He said, "Family doesn't bleed you dry, Hannah." I did not have an answer. So I kept paying. I went inside and kissed Lily's forehead. She smelled like lavender shampoo and sleep. 5 years old. Too young to understand that her mother was teaching her a terrible lesson. That love meant erasing yourself piece by piece until there was nothing left. I stood in the dark and thought, what kind of mother am I becoming? The headache pulsed harder. I took 2 Tylenol and went to bed. I had to be back at the hospital at 2 in the afternoon, only 10.5 hours between shifts. I slept for 7 hours and 45 minutes. Tuesday morning, 7:15 in the morning. My alarm did not go off. I woke up to Lily shaking my shoulder. "Mommy, we're going to be late for school." I jolted awake. Nathan was already gone. He had left a note on the kitchen counter. "Didn't want to wake you. You needed the rest. I'll pick up Lily after work. Love you." I made breakfast, poured cereal. Lily sat at the table, swinging her legs. "Mommy, why do you look sad?" "I'm not sad, sweetie. Mommy is just tired." "You're always tired." She was 5 years old, and she was right. At 7:48 in the morning, my phone buzzed. Text from my mother. "Hannah, did you send the money? Vanessa's insurance company called. They need payment by Friday or they'll drop her." I did not respond. I had already sent it. I drove Lily to Brookline Elementary and dropped her off at 8:03 in the morning. She turned and waved before running inside. Then, I drove to the hospital. I had 3 consults scheduled and a tumor board meeting at 2 in the afternoon. The headache was back, a constant throb behind my left temple. I stopped at a gas station, bought coffee and Tylenol, and took 2 pills dry. By noon, the pain was an 8 out of 10. By 3:30 in the afternoon, I was on the floor of the doctor's lounge and someone was screaming my name. But let me back up, because what happened in those 3 hours matters. At 2 in the afternoon, I walked into the tumor board meeting. 18 doctors. We were reviewing surgical cases. I presented a complex case, a pancreatic tumor, high-risk patient. Halfway through my presentation, the room started spinning. I gripped the edge of the table. I kept talking. I finished the slide. "Dr. Mercer," someone said. "Are you okay?" "Fine," I said. "Just tired." At 3:15 in the afternoon, I excused myself and said I needed to review some labs. I walked to the doctor's lounge. The pain was blinding now. A railroad spike through my skull. I thought I should call someone. But who? Nathan was at work. My parents were, well, they were my parents. I sat down on the couch for just a minute, just to close my eyes. The next thing I remember is Dr. Oliver Bennett's face above mine. His voice was distant and panicked. "Hannah. Hannah, can you hear me?" I tried to answer. My mouth would not work. Then there was nothing but sirens and the taste of blood. I woke up in the ambulance. Everything hurt. Not the sharp, clean pain of one broken bone, the deep, wrong pain of something torn inside. I tried to breathe. My chest would not expand. It felt like someone was sitting on my ribs. A paramedic leaned over me. Young guy, maybe 25. His name tag said Mason. "Dr. Mercer, can you hear me? You were in an accident. We're taking you to Brighton Harbor." "Accident?" I rasped. The word floated in my head. I did not remember an accident. "You were driving on I-93, Mason said. "Your car hit a telephone pole. Do you remember?" I didn't. The last thing I remembered was the doctor's lounge. Then I realized it. I had fallen asleep. Not on the couch, at the wheel. "Time?" I whispered. "It's 3:52 in the afternoon." I had left the hospital around 3:30. The drive home was 45 minutes. I had made it 14 minutes before my body gave out. Mason was pressing on my chest. "You've got some broken ribs, Dr. Mercer. Possible pneumothorax. We're going to decompress on scene." "Okay." I nodded. I felt the needle go in. I felt air rush out of my chest cavity. The pressure eased slightly. "Better?" he asked. "Yeah." "Good. Now I need to call someone for you. Who's your emergency contact?" I gave him my parents' number. Richard and Elaine Mercer. It was habit, muscle memory. They were my parents. Of course they were my emergency contact. Mason dialed and put the phone on speaker so I could hear. It rang once, twice, 3 times. Then my mother's voice came through, clear as glass. "Hello? Mrs. Mercer, this is paramedic Mason with Boston EMS. I'm with your daughter Hannah. She's been in a car accident and—" "Is she dying?" The question hung in the air, blunt, cold. "Ma'am, she has significant injuries and needs immediate—" "Is she dying? Yes or no?" Mason looked at me. I could see the confusion in his eyes. "No, ma'am, but she's in serious condition." "Then it can wait," my mother said. "Vanessa needs us right now. Hannah is always dramatic. Tell her to stop making a scene." I heard my father's voice in the background. "Who is it?" "It's about Hannah," Mom said. "She's fine. She had a fender bender or something." "Mrs. Mercer," Mason said, his voice tight. "This is not a fender bender. Your daughter has—" Click. She hung up. Mason stared at the phone, then at me. Did she just hang up? I closed my eyes. Yeah. Should I call back? No. Because I knew they were not coming. Not for me. Not when Vanessa needed something. Not when Vanessa had a $385 traffic ticket. They loaded me into the ambulance at 4:02 in the afternoon. The drive to Brighton Harbor took 16 minutes. During those 16 minutes, Mason tried calling my parents 2 more times. Voicemail both times. At 4:18 in the afternoon, we arrived at the ER. They wheeled me into Bay 3. Dr. Oliver Bennett was waiting. The same resident I had trained. The same young doctor I had let close on a chest tube the day before. Now, he was looking at my CT scan. "Hannah," he said quietly, "you've got 3 fractured ribs, a hemothorax, about 800 milliliters of blood in your chest cavity, and a grade 3 spleen laceration." I knew what that meant. I had treated dozens of patients with the same injuries. It meant surgery. Soon. "How long do I have?" "An hour, maybe 2 before it becomes critical. We need to get you to the OR. Call Nathan." "Already did. He's on his way." He hesitated. "Hannah, we need your parents to sign consent forms. Hospital policy for non-life-threatening emergencies. Do you want me to call them again?" Non-life-threatening. That was what my mother had asked. "Is she dying?" "No." "Then it can wait." "Yeah," I said. "Call them." Oliver stepped out. I heard him on the phone. "Mrs. Mercer, this is Dr. Oliver Bennett at Brighton Harbor Medical Center. Hannah was in a serious car accident. She has internal bleeding and needs emergency surgery within the hour." Pause. "Yes, ma'am. She's conscious, but she has significant injuries." Pause. "I understand you're dealing with something, but this is time-sensitive. We need family consent to proceed with—" Pause. Longer this time. "Mrs. Mercer, with all due respect, a traffic ticket—" I could not hear what my mother said, but I could see Oliver's face. Disbelief. Anger. "I see. So you'll come when you're done there." He hung up and came back into the bay. "Hannah, I'm so sorry." "I don't understand." "Don't," I said. "Just don't." Over the next 90 minutes, my family made a choice. They chose Vanessa's $385 traffic ticket over my bleeding spleen. The hospital made 10 phone calls. 4:18 in the afternoon. Nurse Lauren Wells called Richard. No answer. 4:35 in the afternoon. Dr. Bennett called Elaine. She answered and said they would come when they could. 4:52 in the afternoon. Nathan called Richard. Voicemail. 5:03 in the evening. Nathan called Elaine. She said they were handling Vanessa's crisis. 5:10 in the evening. Dr. Bennett called Elaine again. Voicemail. 5:25 in the evening. Nurse Wells called Richard. No answer. 5:40 in the evening. Nathan called Richard. No answer. 5:55 in the evening. The hospital administrator called Elaine. She answered and said, "We're on our way." They were not. 6:10 in the evening. Nathan called Richard. He answered and said, "We're leaving now." They had said that 40 minutes earlier. 6:25 in the evening. Dr. Bennett called Elaine one final time. Voicemail. 10 calls. 90 minutes. They were at La Rosa Cafe on Newberry Street, 25 minutes from the hospital. They stayed there for 2 hours and 15 minutes because Vanessa had gotten a $385 traffic ticket for running a red light. Her 4th violation that year. I had paid for the other 3. $735 total. At 5:20 in the evening, Dr. Bennett came back to my bay. "Hannah, we can't wait any longer. I'm invoking emergency surgical consent, but I want you to know I called your parents 5 times." "I know." "What's Vanessa's emergency?" "A traffic ticket." "A traffic ticket," he repeated. Flat, like he was testing whether the words made sense out loud. They did not. "Your mother said it was $385. Started laughing, then crying, then I could not breathe again. They wheeled me to operating room 4 at 5:38 in the evening, the same room where I had saved a man's life the night before. Now I was the one on the table. Nathan arrived at 5:45 in the evening. He had been picking up Lily from school when he got the calls. He drove across the city like his whole life depended on it. He made it in 22 minutes. My parents were 25 minutes away, and they took 3 hours and 12 minutes. Nathan signed the consent forms at 5:48 in the evening. His hands were shaking so hard he could barely hold the pen. The anesthesiologist placed the mask over my face. I counted backward. 10, 9, 8. The last thing I thought was, they're not coming. I woke up at 8:32 at night in the ICU. Bay 6. The surgery had taken 2 hours and 12 minutes. Dr. Malcolm Reed, the attending trauma surgeon, had repaired my spleen, inserted a chest tube, and stabilized my ribs. I had received 2 units of blood. I would live. Nathan was sitting beside my bed. His eyes were red. He had not shaved. He was wearing the same clothes from that morning. "Hey," I whispered. He grabbed my hand, kissed my knuckles, and started crying. "You scared the hell out of me." "Sorry." "Don't apologize. Just don't do that again." "Deal." He wiped his face. "Your parents..." He stopped. "Hannah, they didn't get here until 6:50 in the evening. You were already in surgery." I closed my eyes. "And when they walked into the waiting room, do you know what your mother's first words were?" I did not want to know. She asked if the car was totaled because if it was, insurance should cover a replacement. She wanted to know if your policy was comprehensive. I swallowed. She asked about the car? Yeah. Not about me? Not first. I should have been surprised. But I was not. Because that was who they had always been. I had just spent 34 years pretending otherwise. "Nathan," I said. "Yeah?" "I need you to do something for me." "Anything." "Call Dr. Margaret Ellison. Tell her I need to see her tonight, if possible." "Dr. Ellison? Your boss?" "Yeah." He looked worried. "Hannah, what's going on?" I looked at him. Really looked at him. This man had driven across the city like his whole world was on fire. This man had signed consent forms with shaking hands. This man had shown up. "I'm done," I said. "I'm done paying. I'm done pretending. I'm done being the good daughter who erases herself so they can keep pretending Vanessa is fine and I'm the problem." "Okay." I'm going to need witnesses, records, and I'm going to need you to trust me. I trust you. Call Dr. Ellison. He called. She came. And when my parents finally walked into that ICU room the next morning, they found someone sitting beside my bed. Someone they recognized. Someone they feared. Dr. Margaret Ellison, Chief Medical Officer, my boss, my witness, and the woman who would help me end this. Let me take you back 7 years. March 2017. I was 27 years old. I had just finished my residency at Brighton Harbor Medical Center. I had accepted a position as an attending trauma surgeon. My starting salary was $68,000 a year. I thought I was rich. My parents invited me to dinner. Sunday, March 18th, 6 in the evening. Their house on Maple Street. My father made pot roast. My mother set the table with the good china. Vanessa was not there. She was out with friends. That should have been my first clue. We ate. We talked. They asked about my new job. Then, over coffee, my father slid a folder across the table. "Hannah," he said, "we need to talk about something." Inside the folder were loan documents, mortgage refinance, $186,000. "What's this?" "We're refinancing the house," Dad said. "Your mother's knee surgery cost more than expected. We've got credit card debt. We're struggling." I looked at the papers. The interest rate was high, 7.2%. "Dad, this rate is terrible." "We don't have perfect credit, Hannah. You know that." "But you do." I looked up. "Me?" "We need a co-signer, someone with good credit. It's just a formality." "It's not just a formality. We'll make all the payments," he said. "The bank just won't approve us without a co-signer." My mother reached across the table and took my hand. "Hannah, honey, we wouldn't ask if we weren't desperate. This is temporary. 6 months, maybe a year. Then we'll refinance again in our own names." I was tired. Fresh out of residency, desperate to be a good daughter. "What's the monthly payment?" $1,156. "And you can afford that?" "Absolutely," Dad said. "We just need you to co-sign." I should have asked more questions. I should have demanded bank statements. I should have insisted on a contract. But I did not. Because they were my parents. And parents don't lie to their children. Except mine did. I signed on line 23, right next to my father's signature. "Thank you, honey," my mother said. "You have no idea what this means to us." "It's temporary," my father said. "We'll pay it off in 5 years maximum." Temporary. 7 years later, they had not paid a single dollar. Within 6 months, I got the first email from the bank. Payment overdue. I called my father. "Dad, the bank says the mortgage payment is late." "Oh," he said. "We thought you were handling it this month." "What?" "We've been covering it, Hannah, but things are tight. Can you help us out just this once?" Just this once. I paid $1,156. The next month, another email. Payment overdue. "Dad." "Hannah, I'm sorry. Vanessa needed help with rent. Can you cover it one more time?" One more time became every time. By month 12, I was paying the entire mortgage. $1,156 a month. Plus my own rent, plus my student loans. I was drowning. But I kept paying, because that is what good daughters do. It was not just the money. It was every missed moment. June 8th, 2013. My medical school graduation. Boston University School of Medicine. I had worked 7 years for that day. My parents RSVP'd yes. The ceremony was at 2 in the afternoon. I sat with my classmates and kept looking back at the audience, looking for them. They never came. At 6:30 in the evening, after the ceremony, I called my mother. "Where were you?" "Oh, honey, we're so sorry. Vanessa's Etsy shop launched today. She needed help setting up inventory. We couldn't leave her." Vanessa's Etsy shop closed 3 weeks later. Total revenue? 0. They had chosen Vanessa's failed business over my graduation. April 12th, 2019. Lily was born. 7 pounds, 3 ounces. Perfect. My parents came to the hospital. They stayed 20 minutes. Then they left because Vanessa needed a new outfit for a job interview. Vanessa did not get the job. She did not even go to the interview. September 15th, 2022. I was promoted to lead trauma surgeon, the youngest in the hospital's history. I planned a celebration dinner at Atlantic House Steakhouse. My parents RSVP'd yes. They did not show. I called my mother at 7:45 in the evening. "Where are you?" "Oh, Hannah, we can't make it. Vanessa is having a panic attack about her performance review tomorrow. We need to be here for her." Vanessa got fired 2 days later, for the 3rd time that year. It was always Vanessa. Vanessa needed help. Vanessa had a crisis. Vanessa had an emergency. And me? I was the strong one, the capable one, the one who did not need anything. Except I did need them. I just did not realize it until I was lying in an ICU bed while they chose Vanessa's ticket over my life. I started keeping a journal in 2023. My therapist told me I was being gaslit and needed to ground myself in facts. Page 1, Entry 1. They love Vanessa more. I need to accept this. But why do I have to pay for their love of her? I did not know then that they were not just taking my money. They were taking my reputation. Thanksgiving 2023. My parents' house. 18 family members. I was helping my Aunt Caroline with dishes when my cousin Jennifer pulled me aside. "Hannah, I'm so proud of you. When do you finish your nursing degree?" I stared at her. "My what?" "Your nursing degree," she said. "Aunt Elaine said you're working toward your RN. That's amazing." "Jen, I'm not a nurse. I'm a surgeon. I've been an attending for 6 years. Her face went white. "What?" "But Aunt Elaine said—" "What exactly did she say?" Jennifer showed me my mother's Facebook page. Post after post. Lies. March 14th, 2024. So proud of our Vanessa. Final year of her healthcare administration master's at Northeastern. Vanessa had never attended Northeastern. She had dropped out of community college in 2016. I had paid off her $8,200 in student loans in 2018. July 22nd, 2024. Vanessa volunteering at Children's Hospital today, following in the family medical tradition. Vanessa had never volunteered. She could not handle the sight of blood. There was no family medical tradition. I was the only medical professional in our family. October 20th, 2024. 2 days before my accident. Prayers for our family. Hannah is going through a difficult time with work stress. Vanessa has been so supportive, really stepping up. I was not going through a difficult time. I had just worked a 16-hour shift, saving 3 lives. Vanessa's idea of stepping up was asking for $500 for car insurance. I scrolled through 27 posts over 18 months. 14 major lies. My mother had created an entire fictional life for Vanessa. graduate school, volunteering, career success. And for me, I was demoted. Nurse instead of surgeon. Stressed instead of accomplished. Disconnected from family instead of the person funding their lifestyle. They were ashamed of me. Not because I had failed, because I had succeeded without needing them. And they could not allow that version of me to exist. June 14th, 2024. 4 months before my accident, I received a letter from the Massachusetts Medical Society. I had been nominated for the Outstanding Young Surgeon Award, under 40 category. The ceremony was at the Copley Grand Hotel. I invited my parents 6 weeks in advance. "Of course we'll be there," my mother said. "We wouldn't miss it for the world." They missed it. That morning, Mom texted, "So sorry, honey. Vanessa's landlord is evicting her, and we have to help her move today. You understand? Congrats on the award. We're so proud." Vanessa was not being evicted. She had violated her lease with noise complaints. She moved into my parents' basement 2 weeks later, rent-free. At 2:30 in the afternoon, they announced the winner. Dr. Hannah Mercer, Brighton Harbor Medical Center. I walked to the stage and accepted the plaque. A $5,000 grant for surgical education. Recognition I had earned with years of exhaustion, discipline, and sacrifice. I thanked my husband, my daughter, and my colleagues. I did not mention my parents, because how do you thank people who are never there? When I sat down, Lily climbed into my lap and whispered, "Mommy, you won. Where are Grandma and Grandpa?" "They couldn't make it, baby." "Because of Aunt Vanessa?" She was 5 years old, and she already knew. That night, I got a Facebook message from my mother. Not congratulations, just this. "Did you see Vanessa's post? She's really struggling. Can you send $800? Her deposit was higher than expected." I stared at the message for a long time. Then I closed my laptop. For the first time in 34 years, I said no. Wednesday morning, October 23rd, 8:20 in the morning. I woke to voices outside my ICU room. My parents were arguing with someone. "We're her parents," my mother said. "We have a right to see her." "You do have the right, Mrs. Mercer," a calm voice replied. "But Dr. Mercer requested someone be present when you arrive." The door opened. Mom, Dad, Vanessa scrolling on her phone, and behind them, standing like a guardian, was Dr. Margaret Ellison, 62 years old, Chief Medical Officer of Brighton Harbor Medical Center. Silver hair, steel spine, 28 years in trauma medicine. My boss, my mentor, and now, my witness. My father's face went white. "Dr. Ellison, we didn't know you'd be here." "With one of my best surgeons after her family failed to show up for 3 hours?" she said. "Yes, Mr. Mercer, I'm here." She gestured toward the chairs. "Please sit down." My mother complained about parking. $22, she said. "Can you believe that? $22 for 3 hours. Parking validation was free. They just had to ask. Vanessa still had not looked up from her phone. She did not say hello. Dad stood by the door with his hands in his pockets. He would not meet my eyes. Dr. Ellison sat beside my bed, crossed her legs, and folded her hands. "Shall we begin?" My mother pulled out a checkbook. "Hannah, honey, thank God you're awake. You really scared us." She was writing something. "I told the doctors you were fine. You've always been so strong. You can handle anything." She tore out the check and handed it to Vanessa. $385. Vanessa smiled and tucked it into her purse. Nathan saw it before I did. He was sitting in the corner, unshaven, still wearing yesterday's clothes. "Wait," Nathan said. "Elaine, is that the account Hannah set up?" My mother blinked. "Well, yes, it's the family account. Hannah said it was for emergencies." The family emergency account. I had opened it in November 2017, 6 months after co-signing the loan. I deposited $200 every month for emergencies. 7 years. $16,800 total deposited. The account currently had $12,600. I had never withdrawn a penny. But apparently, my parents had withdrawn $4,200 over 7 years without telling me. And now my mother was writing checks from it. "Nathan," my mother said, "you're being dramatic. The doctors handled Hannah's situation. Vanessa's ticket is a real problem. If she loses her license, how will she get to job interviews?" I whispered, "She doesn't go to job interviews." My mother frowned. "What?" "Vanessa doesn't go to job interviews. She has been unemployed for 8 months. She had 3 interviews scheduled this year. She skipped all of them." Vanessa finally looked up. "That's not true." July 18th, marketing position at TechFlow. You overslept. I was sick. August 9th, receptionist at Wilson & Associates. You said the commute was too far. It was an hour each way. September 22nd, data entry at Riverside Insurance. You didn't show up because you had a headache. I did have a headache. But you went shopping that afternoon, I said. You posted 7 Instagram stories at Nordstrom. Vanessa's face flushed. Silence. Dr. Ellison did not say a word. She was just watching, taking it all in. "Hannah, don't be selfish," Vanessa said finally. "You have money. I don't." And there it was. The script they had been reading from my entire life. I pulled the oxygen tube from my nose. Nathan started to protest. I raised my hand. "No, let me say this." I looked at my parents, really looked at them. For the first time in my life, I saw them clearly. My father, 63 years old, retired from the city planning department, a pension of $2,100 a month, spent his days watching TV and complaining about money. My mother, 60 years old, worked part-time at a flower shop, made $1,100 a month, spent her days on Facebook creating a fictional life for Vanessa. And Vanessa, 38 years old, living in their basement, no job, no prospects, no intention of changing. "I want you to leave," I said. "Now?" my mother gasped. "Excuse me, Hannah. We are your parents." "Get out." "Hannah, you're not thinking clearly." "I'm more clear than I've ever been. Get out, or I'll have security remove you." My father stepped forward. "Hannah, you're on medication. You're not yourself. I'm exactly myself. I've been paying your bills for 7 years. I've been funding Vanessa's life for 7 years. And yesterday, when I was dying, you chose a $385 traffic ticket over me." The heart monitor started beeping. A nurse came in, looked at the monitor, then looked at my parents. "I'm going to have to ask you to leave. The patient needs to rest." "We're her family," my mother said. Dr. Ellison stood. "Leave now." Her voice was not loud. It did not need to be. My parents left. Vanessa paused at the door. "You're going to regret this." I did not answer. When the door closed, Dr. Ellison sat back down. How long has this been going on, Hannah? I started to cry. 34 years. Friday, October 25th. 3 days after the accident. I was still in the ICU. There was a knock on the door at 2:15 in the afternoon. A woman I did not recognize stepped in. Late 50s, gray hair, gentle eyes. She wore a clerical collar. Dr. Mercer, I'm Reverend Grace Whitmore from St. Catherine's Parish. St. Catherine's, my parents' church. They had attended for 26 years. I hope you don't mind the visit, she said. I saw your name on the hospital directory. I didn't realize you were a surgeon. Your mother said. She trailed off, looked uncomfortable. What did my mother say? That you were a nurse having gallbladder surgery. Routine. Of course she did. I'm a trauma surgeon, I said. And I was in a car accident. 3 broken ribs, punctured lung, lacerated spleen. I nearly died. Reverend Whitmore sat down. Oh my God. And my mother told the church to pray for Vanessa, not me. Yes, she said softly. She said Vanessa was devastated by her sister's selfishness in getting sick during Vanessa's difficult time. I laughed. It hurt. What was Vanessa's difficult time? A traffic ticket, she said. I believe $385. She ran a red light. Reverend Whitmore closed her eyes. I'm so sorry, Hannah. Don't be. You didn't know. I should have, she said. We're supposed to see people, really see them. She pulled out her phone. Hannah, I need to show you something. She turned the screen toward me. The post was from Wednesday at 10 at night. Thank you for your prayers. Hannah is fine, as we knew she would be. Please continue praying for Vanessa, who is struggling with the stress of her sister's drama. Hashtag family first. 84 likes. 23 comments. All sympathizing with Vanessa. None asking about me. Because they did not know I had almost died. They thought I had routine surgery, and Vanessa was the victim of my drama. Reverend Whitmore scrolled through more posts. Months of posts. Vanessa in graduate school. Vanessa volunteering at Children's Hospital. Vanessa following the family medical tradition. All lies. I'm the only medical professional in my family, I said. I'm a trauma surgeon. Vanessa has never volunteered anywhere. Reverend Whitmore was quiet for a long time. Then she said, Hannah, in 2 weeks, there is a parish appreciation dinner. Your parents are being honored for exceptional family values and community service. They're receiving the St. Catherine's Family of the Year Award. I stared at her. And I need to know, she said quietly, is any of what they've told us true? Nathan came that evening at 6. He brought Lily with him. She climbed carefully onto my bed and handed me a drawing. A picture of me with bandages and hearts all around. Mommy, I drew you all better. It's beautiful, baby. When can you come home? Soon. Maybe Monday. She hugged me gently. Then Nathan took her to the cafeteria for ice cream. When they left, I called Dr. Ellison. Hannah? I need a favor. Anything. The hospital gala is November 30th, 4 weeks from now. Yes, she said. You're being honored. Youngest lead trauma surgeon in the hospital's history. I want to tell my story at the gala. In front of everyone. Silence. Hannah, are you sure? I'm sure. Your entire department will be there. Administration, donors, board members. And my parents, I said. They RSVP'd, yes. 3 seats at my table. What are you going to say? The truth. All of it. With receipts. Receipts? Bank statements, loan documents, text messages, emails, Facebook posts, 7 years of evidence. Another pause. This will be public, Hannah. Once you do this, there's no going back. I know. That's the point. Okay, she said. I'll help you. What do you need? Time to speak and your support. You have both. Over the next 3 weeks, I compiled everything. Nathan brought my laptop. I downloaded 7 years of statements. $1,200 per month. 84 months. $100,800. Emergency transfers. $12,400. Family emergency account contributions. $16,800. $4,200 withdrawn by my parents without my knowledge. Loan payments. $43,700. Total financial support over 7 years. $160,900. I created a PowerPoint. 12 slides. Slide 1. Timeline of October 22nd. The 10 phone calls they ignored. Slides 2 to 4. Bank statements, transfers, loan documents. Slides 5 and 6. Text messages asking for money. Slide 7. A photo of me alone at the Outstanding Young Surgeon Award ceremony. Slides 8 and 9. Church Facebook posts. The lies about Vanessa. Slide 10. Total calculation. $160,900. Slides 11 and 12. Medical records from October 22nd, redacted for privacy, but showing the severity. The injuries. The calls. The delay. 249 pages of evidence. Undeniable. Nathan saw the PowerPoint on November 5th. Hannah, this is a lot. No, I said. It's perfect. But once you do this, your relationship with them is over. It's already over. They just don't know it yet. He pulled me close. I'm proud of you. On November 8th, my parents received the St. Catherine's Family of the Year Award at the parish dinner. They stood in front of 150 people, accepted a plaque, and gave a speech about family values, about supporting each other through difficult times. Reverend Whitmore told me later that she could barely present the award without feeling sick. But she did not say anything. Not yet. Because she had promised me she would wait until after the gala. On November 15th, my mother texted me. Hannah, just confirming you're covering our table at the gala, right? Also, Vanessa needs $200 for a dress. The event is black tie and she has nothing appropriate. Can you Venmo by tomorrow? I screenshotted the text and added it to the folder. Page 248. I did not respond. On November 28th, my father called. I did not answer. He left a voicemail. Hannah, we haven't heard from you in weeks. We're worried. Call us back. Also, we need to know where we're sitting at the gala. Are we at your table? Love you. I saved the voicemail. Added it to the folder. Page 249. On November 29th, the day before the gala, I met with Dr. Ellison at the hospital. Are you ready? I'm ready. Last chance to back out. I'm not backing out. Good, she said, because I think this is important, not just for you, for every person who has been financially and emotionally abused by family. That night, I did not sleep. I practiced my speech again and again. 8 minutes, 850 words. I practiced until my voice was steady, until I could say the numbers without crying, until I could imagine my parents' faces and feel nothing. No anger, no grief, no hope, just clarity. Saturday, November 30th, 6 weeks after my accident. 4 weeks after I decided to stop pretending. I woke up at 8 in the morning. Nathan was already awake, making breakfast. Pancakes for Lily. Coffee for me. "Big day," he said. Big day. Lily bounced into the kitchen. "Mommy, are you wearing a fancy dress tonight?" "I am." "Can I come?" "You'll be backstage with Miss Rachel." Miss Rachel was our neighbor, a retired teacher. Lily loved her. "Okay. Will Grandma and Grandpa be there?" I exchanged a look with Nathan. "Yes, baby." "Good," she said. "Maybe they'll be nice to you this time." Out of the mouths of children. At 4 in the afternoon, I started getting ready. Black dress. Simple. Elegant. Pearl earrings. Red lipstick. The same shade I wore in the operating room for luck. Nathan helped me zip the dress. "How do you feel?" I looked in the mirror. For the first time in 7 years, I looked like someone who knew her worth. Powerful. We arrived at the Copley Grand Hotel at 6. The grand ballroom was stunning. Crystal chandeliers, white tablecloths, a string quartet in the corner. 220 guests. Surgeons, administrators, donors, board members. My colleagues greeted me, hugged me, asked how I was feeling. "Better," I said. "Much better." At 6:20 in the evening, my parents arrived. My mother wore a $380 dress. I had Venmo'd her the money days earlier. My father wore a new suit. Vanessa wore a $200 dress. I'd paid for that too. They waved at me from across the room, smiling like nothing was wrong, like they had not ignored 10 phone calls while I was dying. Like they had not spent 7 years taking my money and twisting my reputation. They walked over. My mother air-kissed me. "Hannah, you look thin. Are you eating? Brain surgery is so stressful." "It wasn't brain surgery, Mom. I was in a car accident." Right. Well, you look wonderful. Where's our table?" "Table 8, near the front." "Perfect," she said. "We want good photos." They walked away. Vanessa was already taking selfies. Dr. Ellison appeared at my side. "Ready?" "Ready." "Remember, calm, clinical, like you're presenting a case study." "I've been practicing." "I know you'll do great." The lights dimmed. Dinner was served. I barely ate. At 8 at night, Dr. Ellison walked to the podium. "Good evening, everyone. Tonight, I want to tell you about a surgeon." My mother leaned over. "Hannah, is she talking about you?" I did not answer. Dr. Ellison continued, "A trauma surgeon who saved 3 lives in 16 hours and then collapsed." My father shifted uncomfortably. "And when she called for help, the people who were supposed to love her most did not come." My mother whispered, "Hannah, what is this?" I looked at her. "This is the truth." Dr. Ellison's voice was steady, clinical, like she was presenting a case study. 10 phone calls were made. The patient's colleagues saved her life. Her blood family arrived 3 hours late, after surgery had already begun. The ballroom went silent. 220 people. You could hear people breathing. And the first concern from the family was not, "Thank God you're alive." It was whether her car insurance was comprehensive. Gasps. Murmurs. My mother grabbed my wrist. "Hannah, stop this." I pulled away. Dr. Ellison looked at me. "Dr. Hannah Mercer, would you please join me?" I stood. My legs felt like water. Nathan squeezed my hand. "You've got this." I walked to the stage. 18 steps. 12 seconds. The applause started. Colleagues. Friends. People who knew my work. 35 seconds of standing ovation. I took the microphone and looked out at 220 faces. Most supportive. Some confused. And 3 faces at table 8. My parents. Vanessa. Frozen. "Hello, Mom. Dad. Vanessa. Thank you for coming tonight. I'm glad you're here, because there are some things I need to say, and 220 witnesses seems about right." I clicked the remote. The first slide appeared behind me. October 22nd, 2024. Timeline. 10 calls. 3 hours and 8 minutes before my parents arrived. "This is the timeline from October 22nd, I said. "While I had 3 broken ribs, a punctured lung, and internal bleeding, my parents were 25 minutes away at a cafe with Vanessa, who was crying over a $385 traffic ticket." The room shifted. Click. Next slide. Loan document. March 18th, 2017. Original amount, $186,000. Co-signers, Richard Mercer and Hannah Mercer. Monthly payment, $1,156. My parents asked me to co-sign this loan. They said it was temporary. They promised to pay every month. Click. Payment history. Total payments made by Richard and Elaine Mercer, $0. Total payments made by Hannah Mercer, $43,700. Current balance, $142,300. This is 7 years of payment history. Every payment made by me. 0 payments made by them. The audience went silent. Click. Monthly transfers. Amount, $1,200 per month. Duration, 84 months. Total, $100,800. This is my transfer history. They told me it was for Vanessa's therapy fund. Click. Vanessa has never been to therapy. Vanessa stood. "This is humiliating. You're making us look like what, Vanessa?" I asked. I did not raise my voice. I did not need to. Like people who took $100,800 from their daughter and then couldn't drive 25 minutes when she was dying? She sat down. Click. Next slide. My mother's Facebook posts. Vanessa in graduate school. Vanessa volunteering at Children's Hospital. Vanessa following the family medical tradition. This is what my mother posted about Vanessa. I said, "Vanessa has never attended Northeastern. She has never volunteered at Children's Hospital. She lives in my parents' basement and has been unemployed for 8 months." Someone whispered, "Oh my God." Click. A photo appeared. Me on stage. Alone. June 14th, 2024. Outstanding Young Surgeon Award. I invited my parents 6 weeks in advance. They RSVP'd yes. They didn't come. They were helping Vanessa move into their basement, where she still lives rent-free. I paused. I stood on that stage and thanked my husband, my daughter, and my colleagues. I didn't mention my parents because how do you thank people who are never there? Click. Total financial support, 2017 to 2024. Loan payments, $43,700. Monthly transfers, $100,800. Emergency fund contributions, $16,800. Total, $161,300. This is the total, $161,300 over 7 years. Every dollar paid by me. I let that sink in. $161,300 divided by 2,920 days equals $55.24. That is what my family cost me per day for 7 years. Click. I'm a trauma surgeon. I make life or death decisions. I've held beating hearts in my hands. I've told families their loved ones didn't make it. And I could do all of that, but I couldn't say no to my parents. I looked at my mother. Until now. My father stood and grabbed his coat. We're leaving. This is abuse. Dr. Ellison stepped to a second microphone. Mr. Mercer, sit down. I had never heard her use that tone, the CMO tone, the you will comply tone. We are not finished, she said. Your daughter saved 3 lives the night before she nearly died. She was saved in this hospital by her colleagues, not by you. And you want to leave because she is telling the truth? My father sat. Dr. Ellison looked at the audience. 3 of Hannah's colleagues would like to speak, starting with Dr. Oliver Bennett, the surgeon who found Hannah and called her family. Oliver walked to the stage. He took the microphone and looked at my father. Mr. Mercer, I've been a surgeon for 4 years. I've called families during emergencies. I have never had a parent say their child could wait. His voice shook. At 4:35 in the afternoon, I called Mrs. Mercer and told her Hannah had internal bleeding and needed surgery. She said, Hannah is strong. She's a doctor. She knows how to handle this. Right now, my other daughter is having a mental breakdown over a ticket. Hannah would want us to prioritize Vanessa. She always does. The room went still. A mental breakdown over a $385 traffic ticket, Oliver said, while Hannah was bleeding internally. He turned to the audience. I've seen families drive through blizzards. I've seen parents sleep in waiting rooms for weeks. I've seen siblings donate kidneys without hesitation. But I have never seen a family take 3 hours to drive 25 minutes because they were dealing with something else. Then he looked at me. Hannah saved my career once. I messed up a chest tube insertion my first year. The patient started crashing. Hannah stepped in, fixed it, and never humiliated me. She just said, we all make mistakes. I've got your back. He swallowed. And when she needed someone to have her back, her family was at a cafe, paying for Vanessa's lunch. He handed the microphone back. The audience erupted in applause. Nurse Lauren Wells, ICU supervisor, took the stage next. I have been a nurse for 22 years, she said. I have made many difficult phone calls, but I have never had a parent say their child could wait when I told them that child had internal injuries. She read from her notes. Mrs. Mercer asked if Hannah was conscious. I said she was in severe pain. She said, then she can handle it. My other daughter is having a crisis. We'll come when we're done. Lauren lowered her phone. A crisis. A traffic ticket. While your daughter was bleeding internally. She stepped down. More applause. Dr. Ellison returned to the podium. I want everyone in this room to understand something. Dr. Hannah Mercer is one of the finest trauma surgeons in this hospital. She turned to me. 3 weeks before her accident, Hannah worked a 22-hour shift because we had a mass casualty event. 12 critical patients. She saved 9 of them. She did not complain. She did not ask for extra pay. She just did her job because that is who she is. Then she looked at my parents. And you couldn't drive 25 minutes. She let that hang. This hospital is Dr. Mercer's family. These people are her family. They showed up. They saved her. They supported her recovery while her blood relatives asked for money. She paused. So here's what we are going to do. We are establishing the Dr. Hannah Mercer Surgical Education Fund. Starting balance, $25,000, donated by this hospital's foundation to help train the next generation of surgeons. Standing ovation. 220 people on their feet. Except 3. My parents sat frozen. Vanessa was on her phone. I returned to the microphone. I was crying, but my voice was steady. I'm not doing this for revenge. I'm doing this because I have a daughter. Lily is 5 years old, and I need her to know something. I looked toward Lily backstage. She waved. You do not owe people your life just because they are related to you. You owe them respect if they have earned it, love if it is mutual, and boundaries when they have crossed them. I turned to my parents. Mom, Dad, Vanessa, I forgive you. Not because you apologized. You haven't. Not because you changed. You won't. I forgive you because I am a doctor. And doctors heal, even when the wound is self-inflicted and the patient refuses treatment. I took a breath. But forgiveness does not mean reconciliation. It does not mean access. It does not mean I will keep funding your lives while you diminish mine. I held up my phone. As of tonight, the loan is your responsibility. The bank has removed me as cosigner. The monthly transfers stop. The emergency fund is closed. And this is the last time you will see my number call you unless you change fundamentally, permanently, and provably. I looked at Lily again. I am teaching my daughter something tonight. I am teaching her that saving people is noble, but sacrificing yourself is not. I am teaching her that family is the people who show up, not just the people who share your blood. I put the microphone down and walked off the stage. Nathan was waiting. He wrapped his arms around me. I buried my face in his shoulder. For the first time in 34 years, I felt light. Behind me, my mother said, "We're leaving. This is abuse." And someone, I think it was Reverend Whitmore, said, "No, Elaine, what you did was abuse. This is consequences." By 11 at night, the gala was over. By Sunday morning, videos from the event were everywhere. I had given permission at the start of my speech. I wanted it public. The comments were overwhelming. This woman is a hero. Her parents are monsters. I'm a nurse and I'm sobbing. $161,000 and they couldn't drive 25 minutes. My phone kept ringing. Unknown numbers. Reporters, probably. I turned it off. Monday morning. 9:20 in the morning. My phone rang. Blocked number. I almost did not answer. Then I thought, what if it's the hospital? I picked up. Dr. Mercer. Yes, this is she. This is attorney Michael Greenspan. I represent your parents. They are requesting a cease and desist regarding the videos from Saturday's event. I smiled. The videos I explicitly gave permission to record? The videos showing documented financial records I own? Dr. Mercer. Tell my parents if they want to sue me, they're welcome to try. I have 249 pages of evidence, 7 years of bank statements, documented lies, recorded calls, and 220 witnesses. I'll see them in court. I hung up. Nathan looked at me. That was hot. I laughed for the first time in weeks. Actually laughed. Tuesday, December 3rd. My lawyer called. Hannah, good news. The bank agreed to remove you from the loan. Your parents are now solely responsible for the $142,300 balance. Can they afford it? The monthly payment is $2,680. Based on their income? No. What happens if they can't pay? They refinance. They sell the house. They downsize. They face consequences like adults. I sat with that. Hannah, he said, it is not your problem anymore. I know. But it did not feel real yet. Thursday, December 5th. I got a text from Vanessa, first contact since the gala. You ruined our lives. Mom and Dad might lose the house. Are you happy now? I stared at it for a long time. Then I typed, I didn't ruin your lives. I stopped funding them. There's a difference. Also, you're 38 years old. Get a job. I hit send. Then I blocked her number. Nathan saw it. Feel good? Yeah, I said. Actually, it does. Friday, December 6th. 2 p.m. Reverend Whitmore called. Hannah, I need to tell you something. The parish council reviewed the gala videos and your mother's Facebook posts. We are rescinding the Family of the Year award. You don't have to do that. Yes, we do. We gave them an award for family values while they were destroying their own daughter. We are also asking them to step down from their volunteer positions. My father had run the parish finance committee. My mother had run the family support ministry. The irony was not lost on me. 45 parish families have reached out with apologies, Reverend Whitmore said. Thank you, Reverend, but I don't need apologies from people who didn't know. They feel terrible. They shouldn't. My parents are very good liars. Hannah, the parish wants to honor you for your work, your sacrifice, your courage. No, I said. I don't need another award. I just need peace. She was quiet for a moment. You are a remarkable woman, Hannah Mercer. I'm just tired, Reverend. Really, really tired. Saturday morning, December 7th. Lily climbed into my lap. Mommy, are Grandma and Grandpa coming for Christmas? No, baby, not this year. Because they were mean to you? Kids see everything. Yes, because they were mean to me. Good, she said. Santa doesn't visit mean people. I laughed. You're right, sweetheart. He doesn't. January 15th, 2025. 6 weeks after the gala. I was back to a full surgical schedule. My ribs had healed. The pain was gone. My savings account balance was $22,400. It had grown by $14,200 in 6 weeks because I was not sending $1,200 every month. Because I was not funding Vanessa's life. Nathan and I were planning a vacation. Hawaii. 7 days. The first real vacation we had taken in 8 years. Lily was thriving in kindergarten. Her teacher said she seemed more relaxed, happier. Kids feel everything. I was seeing a therapist twice a week, working through what she called parentification trauma. It would take time, but I was healing. Dr. Bennett found me in the surgeon's lounge. How does it feel to be back full-time? Good, I said. Really good. You seem lighter. I am. Literally. I'm $1,200 a month lighter. He laughed. You know what the residents are calling you? What? The surgeon who operated on her own family without anesthesia. I smiled. That's pretty accurate. January 22nd. I was driving Lily to a birthday party. We passed my parents' old house on Maple Street. There was a for sale sign in the yard. Lily saw it. Is that Grandma's house? Yes, baby. Why is it for sale? Because they're moving to a smaller house. Because they don't have your money anymore? She was 5, and she understood. Yes, sweetheart. Because they don't have my money anymore. Good, she said. Now you can buy me things. I laughed until I cried. The house was listed for $380,000. If they sold at asking price, they would have enough to downsize and start over without me. That night, I logged into my bank account. $22,400. I opened a new savings account, named it Lily's College Fund. First deposit, $5,000. It felt like planting a tree. Late night, January 25th. I could not sleep. I opened my laptop and started typing. Dear Mom and Dad, I am not sending this, but I need to write it. You taught me that my worth was measured by what I could give, not by who I was. And I believed you for 34 years. But here is what you did not teach me. You did not teach me that I deserve to be loved without conditions. You did not teach me that no is a complete sentence. You did not teach me that my career was not a burden to you. It was a threat because I succeeded without needing you. I am not angry anymore. I am just done. Hannah. I cried 4 times while writing it. I edited 12 times. I never sent it. The next day, I deleted the draft, not out of fear, out of freedom. They did not deserve my words anymore, not even the unsent ones. Exactly 3 months after my accident, I walked into operating room 4, the same room where my life had been saved. That day, I was operating on a 28-year-old woman. Car accident, drunk driver, fractured ribs, punctured lung. The same injuries I had survived. The surgery took 3 hours and 18 minutes. Successful. When I walked into the recovery room, her mother was there. She had driven 2 hours through a snowstorm. She had been there before the ambulance arrived. She grabbed my hands and started crying. Thank you. Thank you for saving my daughter. I watched her hug her daughter. Real love. Present love. Dr. Bennett came up behind me. You good? Yeah, I said. I'm good. Thinking about your parents? No, I said. And I meant it. I'm thinking about Lily. About the kind of mother I want to be. What kind is that? The kind who shows up. I scrubbed out and looked at my reflection in the steel. I had a thin scar on my left wrist from the accident. A reminder. My phone buzzed. Nathan. Lily wants to know if you're coming to her school play tomorrow. I smiled and typed back. Front row. I'll be there. Because that is what family does. They show up. Thank you for staying with me until the end. If this story made you think about family, boundaries, or the people who only love you when you stay useful, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe for more emotional stories about betrayal, truth, justice, and the quiet strength it takes to finally say no. And remember this: you can love people without letting them drain your life. You can forgive someone and still close the door. and you deserve a family that shows up before it is too late. I will see you in the next story.